Coming up on NBA Today, the Lakers were run by the Bulls as Chicago finished off the LA sweep. Are the Bulls the team to beat in the East? But there is some good news for the purple and gold as LeBron is one step closer to his return. Woj live with the latest on LeBron James. Plus, is tonight's Warriors-Nets game a finals preview? We take you inside the marquee matchup. NBA Today starts right now. Welcome to NBA Today. I'm Malika Andrews, joined in studio by Richard Jefferson, Zach Lowe, Kendrick Perkins. JJ Redick is going to be joining us all hour long. And you know who else is stopping by?
Who?
Washington Wizards forward Kyle Kuzma and as the city of Cleveland. Kuz. I always thought they were booing him when really they're saying Kuz. Yeah, I had to.
There were times.
Well, the city of Cleveland might be booing him. He has the quickest Twitter fingers in the league right now. But do you guys know where we're going to start today?
Yes.
Where?
I have no idea.
We're going to start in Staples Center. That's where Zach and I were last night to watch DeMar DeRozan and the Bulls visit Anthony Davis and the Lakers. Alex Caruso was returning to Staples Center. The fans loved him, Zach.
Video tribute. They should be.
Tribute. And, LeBron James loves seeing him, too.
South Bay Lakers wins a championship, and, you gotta love him.
Well, let's pick it up in the third quarter, Richard.
Well, this is the issue right here, and this is why the Bulls are so good. They have like 5 or 6 guys that can rebound the ball and get out in transition, and they have to match up. The Lakers have been struggling against teams in transition, and Lonzo Ball, you want to talk about an improvement from his days in the Lakers uniform to now his three-point shot's immaculate.
Well, Russell Westbrook has been showing some improvements, but not quite there, Richard. The Lakers, look at this. They're going to have 3 defenders here out in front of Zach LaVine.
Well, this is what happens. You're so worried about those guys that are trailing, you forget that they've got Zach, they got DeMar, they got a bunch of guys that can go one-on-one at any point in time, and it's just very, very difficult when you look at the versatility that the Bulls bring.
Well, we're still in the third quarter. The Bulls are up 77-62. DeMar DeRozan doing what he does, what he did all night long. DeRozan had a game-high 38 points.
Yeah, come over, get that work too. He crushed the LAs. He killed the Clippers. He killed the Lakers. Good for DeMar DeRozan.
Well, check this out, though. Anthony Davis is later in the quarter. The Lakers are down by 20. Can't get the control of the lob. Shoe can't get it on. And he is ejected.
With the gusto.
And now, look, this is the rule. I know a lot of people, yes, it's a little confusing, but ultimately the referee cannot stop a fast break unless it's the final 2 minutes of the game to put on a shoe.
Absolutely. Will the Lakers lose? Here's DeMar DeRozan afterwards.
People saying I was washed for the last few years. The narrative won't fit. I can find all type of chips that, I use that's my motivation, just being counted out, being looked over. So many chips that's on my shoulder that I carry and just want to be a winner and, just want to enjoy this ride.
I think he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. I think a lot of people kind of counting him out, saying he's on the back end of his career, but it's probably one of his best years that he's had in the NBA. And we're just happy to have him on the team.
Is this team as good as its record says?
Yeah, I think we are one of the top teams in the NBA. Obviously, we still got a long way to go. A lot to improve on, but like I said, we're moving in the right direction.
So the Lakers dropped to 4-5 without LeBron this season compared to 4-2 in the 6 games that he's played, and they're allowing nearly 5 more points per game when James doesn't play, and their 3-point percentage has also been affected by his absence. So the Bulls, they completed the Los Angeles sweep. Compton native DeMar DeRozan, he just showed out 73 points combined between the Clippers and Lakers games. Richard, when you're looking at DeMar, you heard him say, I'm playing with a little bit of chip on his shoulder, all that chatter in the offseason. Why is he playing so well right now?
I think there's a level of freedom that DeMar DeRozan has right now. You got to understand, he left Toronto in a very emotional way. He went to San Antonio, and now he has an opportunity to pick. This is the first time he was a free agent where he gets to decide where he wants to go, the players that he wants to play with, the city that he wants to be in. And I think he just taken all of those chips and all of those things that has kind of been lingering and kind of hovering over him, and he's playing with a new level of freedom.
First of all, we need to have an emergency summit about the word washed. Nobody said DeMar DeRozan was washed.
I didn't say that.
There was not one person who said DeMar DeRozan was washed. Was there some skepticism about his fit and his mid-range? Sure, but not washed. Look, the question everyone had about the Bulls when they combined DeRozan, LaVine, and Vucevic was, how is this team going to defend? Well, they defend. They're 4th in defense, and I'll say this, Malika, you and I were at the game. Of all the teams I've seen in person, they gained the most watching them in person because you felt just how up in people's faces Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso are, how fast they transition from one end of the court to the other. They just are playing ferocious basketball. And the other thing that stood out, they really like playing with each other. They're rooting for each other, trying to set each other up.
Right.
It's easy to do that when you're winning.
But you also got to talk about Caruso leading the league in steals and what he's been doing.
He and Lonzo.
They've been adding Lonzo and Caruso have helped that defensive pairing of DeMar, Zach, and Vucevic.
Well, and speaking of liking to play with each other, JJ, we heard DeMar say that Zach LaVine wanted him to go for 40, but he's like, I'm too tired, man. What have you seen from DeMar DeRozan in Chicago?
I have a question first, actually. How big does Perk's head look to y'all?
Oh, but
from my vantage point,
thank you.
from my vantage point in New York,
it.
mine is like, I don't know. I'm like 30%.
Thank you. Welcome, JJ. That'll be the last time I agree with someone from Duke, but go ahead.
Well, look, I think DeMar made a huge leap in playmaking when he was in San Antonio. It sort of went unnoticed last year. He averaged a career high in assists. To me, this is the most complete we've seen DeMar as an offensive player. He's even added in 2.5 threes per game, shooting it at 37%. We've seen seasons where he's completely ignored the three-point line. So he's sort of doing everything right now. If you were to have an MVP power rankings as of today, I'd put DeMar DeRozan third after Steph and KD.
Interesting. Hey, Perk, is your head okay?
Yeah, it does. And you know what? I'm gonna give JJ a pass today, man, because this is my guy, and this is our first time. I was gonna sing "Just Let Your
today.
Soul Glow."
Just today. Just for today.
He got the foot to the left. I wasn't gonna get on there today. I was just gonna talk about the Lakers.
Okay.
Since everybody's talking about Bulls, and rightfully so, can we talk about how disgusting the Lakers look?
We can
right
talk
now?
about it. We can talk about it. We'll get to it, Perk. Give me just one more second with the Chicago Bulls because they were that good. They're 10-4, which is tied for second in the East. So I just want to ask JJ, what makes this team so tough to play against?
Well, as Zach alluded to, I think it's their defensive pressure up front. Adding Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso has been great for them. Alex Caruso, to me, is one of the most underrated free agency additions this past offseason. The Lakers miss him, and he's been tremendous for the Bulls. He doesn't have to score to impact a game. He's so disruptive on defense, and he's been absolutely great for them.
Perk, I know you're champing at the bit here, so come on, let me have it. What were your takeaways from the Lakers side last night?
Well, the Lakers are supposed to look like the Bulls are looking right now. And here's the thing that bothers me the most about the Lakers. You have a group of veteran guys that have come together for one goal and one goal only, and that's to win the championship. And when I watch the Lakers play, I don't see that. And obviously, it's the obvious plays of them not being able to knock down three-point shots. But as we saw in the film that Richard was talking about, we didn't see them getting back in transition. We don't see the Lakers making the hockey assist. And to those out there that don't know what the hockey assist is, that's actually the pass that leads to the assist for the bucket. We see a lot of hero my-turn basketball on the offensive end where they take shots at the basket and you're like, what are you doing? And then defensively, they're just not there, right? Their perimeter defense is not there. It starts with Russell Westbrook. He has to be the leader on that side of the ball by getting into the ball, getting up over screens, setting some type of tone. If Alex Caruso could go out there, and I'm not discrediting him because I love what he brings to the table, but if Alex Caruso could go out there and have an impact on the game by getting into the ball, doing the little things that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, and Russell Westbrook is just as athletic as Alex Caruso and not doing those same little things that don't show up in the stat sheet but equals to winning, then that's a problem for the Lakers. I just don't understand how you have a group of veterans that can't come together and sacrifice and show and play winning basketball on a consistent basis.
Well, look, Perk is telling the truth here. The one thing that I will say about this Laker team is that you know they have the pieces. The hardest thing, in my opinion, is to get the talent that is needed to be successful. Obviously, they're missing LeBron James. Obviously, they've had injuries to Kendrick Nunn, to THT, Trevor Ariza. They've had a ton of injuries. But the flip side of this is also the softest part of their schedule. And some of the losses that they have are against teams that have a quarter of the amount of talent, even with all of those players missing. And so that, to me, is the most, disheartening thing about where the Lakers are right now.
Feels like they haven't played a road game yet the whole season. I'm going to say something nice. Taylor Horton Tucker played well.
He did.
That's a nice thing. I'll tell you what was striking. The Lakers have Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis on their team, 2 future Hall of Famers.
Top 75.
There was not 1 second in last night's game where they looked nearly the Bulls equal. The Bulls were just way better than the Lakers. And that underscores to me, like, they need MVP level LeBron. They're just not very good without LeBron. And LeBron is reaching a point in his career. We've seen the injuries start to happen. He's 3rd all time in minutes. There's no precedent for a player that has played this many minutes. There's no precedent for LeBron, period. But there's no precedent for a player playing this many minutes being a top 3 or 4 player in the NBA. That's what they need, because you can show me THT, Ariza,
Right.
Nunn. Those are all solid players. They're not changing your life as a team. This team without LeBron just looks disorganized and not very good.
Well, speaking of LeBron James, he's been out for 2 weeks, and senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski joins us now for an update on his status. So, Woj, the Lakers have 2 games on ESPN the remainder of this week. Tomorrow in Milwaukee against the Bucks, and then Friday in Boston against the Celtics. When might we see LeBron James back on the court?
Malika, I'm told that there's some real optimism that LeBron James may return on Friday against Boston. Certainly, as you said, they start this 5-game trip in Milwaukee. He started to do. He's been back on the court. He's not gone 5-on-5 yet. He's not had contact on the practice court with his teammates. Frank Vogel talked about that yesterday, but he has progressed that abdominal strain that's kept him out. As you said, for over 2 weeks, Malika, that there's optimism now that he'll make his return on Friday in Boston against the Celtics, of course, on ESPN.
Okay, so Friday, potentially. Thank you so much, Woj. I do want to bring in J.J. Redick back into the mix. J.J., I am curious, how much of what is wrong with the Lakers do you think LeBron James is going to fix by just being back in the lineup?
Well, he's going to fix a lot of it. And look, I get the addition of Russell Westbrook. I think the idea there was to take some of the playmaking responsibilities off of LeBron throughout the regular season. They've got 82 games to figure it out until the playoffs. But the one thing bringing LeBron back is not going to fix is they don't have a consistent elite shooter. And that, to me, is what they're missing the most. They're missing that spacing. If those 3 guys are going to play together, along with THT on the court a lot with them, they need shooting, and they don't have that right now. Consistent, elite shooter? Is there someone in this 2-box who fits that frame? Because it ain't me. Are you? Well, there's one sitting at home in New York City, actually.
Oh, yeah, well, Richard was trying to get in on that, but we're like, no, he's...
We know it ain't Perk.
We
know it ain't
Perk.
Oh, bless him. We know it ain't
Preach that
Perk.
gospel.
Thank you so much for joining us, JJ, but please stick around. We need you for Nets Warriors coming up a little bit later in the show. The Bulls being incredibly dangerous out in transition. That's what caught my eye yesterday. But then in the press conference, did y'all see Lonzo's chain?
Yo, he was blinging. That's what you got to do in L.A. You got to bring it.
Do you have that, Zach?
Zach got a chain.
Did you say, yo, he was blinging? Like as a verb, blinging?
Hot.
Yeah, look, sometimes you just got to make it up as you go, Zach.
Okay.
So that means you're unfamiliar. You don't have the...
Look at that.
Look at that.
Oh, the turnover train, Debo.
But then, yeah, in comparison, I'm not sure.
I feel like one is real, one isn't.
I don't know. But I did ask Lonzo on the way out. I said, how heavy is that? And he said, oh, it's pretty heavy.
Is it better than his brother's?
Well, that's kind of the toss-up.
But
he had shoes that matched. He had shoes that matched. All right, coming up on NBA Today, the Mavs got a big win last night versus Denver, but did they lose LUKA Doncic in the process? Live update on the Dallas Star, and Kyle Kuzma has been showing out for the Wizards this season, but more importantly, he joins the show. Just how big is that chip on his shoulder? Plus, it's the game that everyone wants to see. Steph and the Warriors in Brooklyn to take on KD and the Nets. Who wins? Why? NBA Today rolls on. Welcome back to NBA Today, live from Los Angeles. Let's go coast to coast on last night's action, starting with the Suns, who beat the Timberwolves for their 9th win in a row. Chris Paul is leading the league in assists at 10.2 per game. Richard, Suns, team to beat in the West?
Let's talk about the Timberwolves doing what the Timberwolves do. Come on. They got too much talent for that, Zach.
Can't win a close game, and that we still showing this poor guy getting nutmegged by Chris Paul.
I know.
Enough.
Welcome to the league.
He has a family.
Hey, the Timberwolves made the show.
Richard, you're so rude. The Wizards came back from a 17-point halftime deficit to beat the Pelicans and win their 5th game in a row. And Montrezl Harrell is having a great year, and he even got some MVP chance at the line, but he wasn't a fan.
hate it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I hate it. Don't chant it until the second free throw. I'm not gonna lie to you. I swear I hate it. Let me get the edge off of getting that first free throw down, man, because it definitely plays in my head like, damn, what if I miss this free throw? They chanting MVP. And every time I done missed it.
Don't worry, we asked Kyle Kuzma about that later in the show. The Cavs lost to the Celtics, but they're off to a 9-6 start, their best record through 15 games since LeBron James left. But the team announced earlier today that rookie Evan Mobley has a right elbow sprain and will miss 2 to 4 weeks. Zach, how big of a blow is this for Cleveland?
It's a blow to me emotionally. I'm upset about no Evan Mobley. And they're just running out of guys. No Sexton, no Markkanen, no Love. It's going to be tough to stay afloat.
Hopefully they can get some guys back. And the Mavs beat the Nuggets despite a huge game from Nikola Jokic, who put up 35, 16, and 6. Luka Doncic had 23 points, 11 assists, but he limped off the court in the final minute after rolling his left ankle. So for more on Luka Doncic, I am joined by ESPN NBA reporter Tim McMahon. Tim, what's the latest on Luka's ankle? Maybe he can't hear me.
You want me to do? Yeah, we'll talk. I'll talk about it. You want to talk about it?
Well, let's just talk about it then. Hopefully, we can get Tim McMahon back a little bit later.
I watched the game
for an update. I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
Are you concerned? I am. Sometimes I don't know what he is doing when it's that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you concerned though when you're looking at the Mavs? We've talked a lot about the Mavs already this season and the concerns that we've had with them anyway. Without Luka, potentially, we'll get an update from Tim in a little bit. What's your level of concern here?
Well, I think when you look around the superstars in this league, how many teams can hold on without their superstars? And I think the Dallas Mavericks is not one of those teams that is built to miss somebody for an extended period of time. They will be kind of paddling upstream, upriver if he misses a week. Hopefully it's not very long. But, yeah, I would be very concerned based off his timetable because I do not see them playing well without him. He's too much of everything for them.
Even though Kristaps Porzingis has started to find his stride a little bit?
Starting to play well, and they're playing him more at center, which I love. I actually think, I hope Luka comes back tomorrow. I want him to be healthy. I actually think it would be interesting, given how essential he is to everything they do, what it would look like full time without him, who would step up, and whether some guys would sort of grow more comfortable and be like, it's one of those situations where you sit and watch your team, maybe you think about it differently.
Yeah, no, I would look at Luka and as this opportunity, this would be an opportunity like, hey, Porzingis, you ready to average 30 again? You ready to go for 25 like you did in New York? Because we're going to post you up, we're going to play through you, we're going to do that. That could be a bonus. But again, first and foremost, we hope Luka is back and we'll be able to kind of analyze it after we find out what the timetable is.
And hopefully we'll have Tim McMahon back in just a little bit. But if Kristaps Porzingis keeps playing like this, you know what could happen.
What?
He could end up in our top of the top segment.
We're moving?
So let's do it.
Let's go! Okay, wait.
I can roll you all the way over.
Wait, let's go. Let's get it. Well, I'm going to go sit next to Zach.
You're all by myself.
No,
All
Zach,
by
I got
yourself. They
you,
were
dude.
going
I
to
got
leave
you.
you all
Come
the
on,
way
man.
over
Come
there
on.
because you can't do the top blocks all by yourself all the way over there.
Oh.
So we start last night in Portland where CJ McCollum, oh my gosh,
Yes.
he was the poor rookie.
Oh, what did he do?
Sent them just.
Oh!
That's an incredible
Christian
play
James
for a
with the
guard.
block.
That's incredible.
I think that's his
way
name.
Back.
CJ.
DJ Mutombo over here.
I'm just going to say, don't ever let a two-guard block your shot.
I love that. Well, then we go back to Minnesota. JaVale McGee doing what he does.
Nope.
This is where he
not
lives.
Chicogi.
Is
Nope.
that JaVale McGee doing what he does or Minnesota doing what Minnesota does?
What is with you in Minnesota
I don't
today?
know. I just expect more from them.
Let's take a look at top slams. The Knicks tape last night. Obi Toppin did not disappoint. I don't even think we need to say his dad is Dunker's delight anymore. I think this is just straight up him.
Every game now.
Oh,
Goga.
Do you want to see him in the dunk contest?
Again? Yes.
Sure, why not?
Why not? Nobody else wants to be in it.
We get some attraction. He's been throwing down some dumps.
Good for Obi Toppin, man. He got off to a little bit of a slow start.
All right, let's take a look at the top game winner. We have to show you this play last night in Central Michigan, Eastern Illinois. This tip off the glass to win it. How do you let that happen? Look, he even looks stunned.
He should be stunned. They're running, saying bye-bye.
Hush the crowd.
Hush the crowd.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, did they start the clock late? That happened to me before.
Well, at least
good for them. Tell the crowd to be quiet.
Absolutely.
At least you can relate. I mean,
yeah, I can relate.
I can relate. I've been there.
Yeah, I can relate that.
Do you guys want to go live to Brooklyn?
Please.
Let's do it. Coming up, we are heading there for a marquee matchup between the Warriors and the Nets. Who wins? Why? Keep it locked on NBA Today.
The history and the memories that will never be taken away from us, but you know, it's about what's happening now and moving forward. I know we're all on that same page.
Going efficient, Got ambition, sort of vicious. Yep,
They're the best team in the league. They're playing at an elite level.
Curry's gonna put it up, you know that. Unbelievable. Yes, inconceivable.
Drake goes down. Durant is gonna highlight.
There's an appreciation of basketball at the highest level, talent at the highest level.
Sometimes I find them comical. Yeah, incomparable. Replay value phenomenal.
May the best team win.
Big marquee matchup tonight, so let's dive into it. 2.5 years removed from tearing his Achilles, Kevin Durant is on pace to earn his 5th scoring title and first one since 2014. He is leading the league in scoring at 29.6 points per game while shooting a ridiculous 59% from the field. And the Warriors are in rare form this season. They are holding the best record in the league, and that's in large part because they're getting it done on both ends of the floor. They have the best defensive efficiency, allowing just over 99 points per 100 possessions. And they also lead the league in threes made and points per game. And Steph Curry is right behind Kevin Durant in the scoring department at 29 per game this season. Durant and Curry have faced each other 25 times in the regular season, with KD's team winning 16 of those while putting up 31 points per game to Steph's 25. So I do want to welcome in Nick Friedel. Look at him. He magically appears. You're joining us from Barclays, Nick, and you've been around these teams during shoot-around. Kevin Durant's been on Twitter today, liking tweets, feeding fuel to the fire. But what is the atmosphere heading into tonight's game?
Everybody is on edge, Malika, in a really good way. For the Warriors, it feels like a homecoming with KD because there is still so much respect there. Steve Kerr said yesterday after practice, no matter what happened at the end, we always have what we accomplished together in winning those 2 titles. And he said the microscope was unbelievable every day in that 3rd year, and things got rocky at the end, but there was always an appreciation of just how great Kevin was. And Andre Iguodala said something that was really interesting. He said you can't enjoy it in the moment, but when you see Kevin again and you go against somebody you consider a brother, that's when you start to reminisce about what they did in those 3 years in the Bay. So there's a lot of good feelings for the Warriors, and knowing KD, he's going to come out ready to send a message to his old friends tonight.
Well, you know who's still been playing incredibly well in the Bay, Nick? That's Steph Curry. So how do the Nets plan to slow him down tonight?
Malika, he's been awesome, and with KD, he's probably the leader right now for that 3rd MVP in his career. But the difference for the Nets, I talked to Patty Mills about this a couple hours ago after shoot-around. They said you have to throw everybody at Steph. And even when he starts making those crazy shots, as we all know that's possible, said you can't get discouraged because once you put your head down, Steph Curry smells blood in the water. He knows how good he can be, and even more importantly, his teammates know how dangerous they can be with the space he creates. So the Nets are going to have everybody go at him, but they know they can't start putting their head down and feeling bad about themselves when those shots go down. They just have to keep moving forward defensively and hope somebody else can beat them.
Well, Nick Friedel, the dance team in the background, you will all be in Barclays Center tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend. So
always.
Draymond, Nick, was on the Manning cast yesterday, and he gave a little preview of who he's going to be focused on tonight. Take a listen.
Ever play a team in basketball where you know they're going to run this same play, you practice it, but you just can't stop it, right?
You know, plays are one thing. You can kind of take the plays away, but then it boils down to, can you stop that man one-on-one? And so I think if there's any example of that, it's tomorrow night. We got James Harden and Kevin Durant. Which Kevin Durant is my matchup that I'm not really looking forward to. But, you know, we got those 2 guys. And so what it ends up boiling down to is obviously it's a team effort, but you got to take on that matchup one-on-one. And it's not always so promising.
Back here with Richard, Kendrick, JJ. JJ, you just heard what Draymond said. So what's the best way to slow down his former teammate, a seemingly impossible task?
I don't think you can slow Kevin Durant down. To me, what the Bucks did last year in the playoffs was say, we're going to let Kevin Durant basically have to beat us on his own. We're going to take everything else away. The other option is you go double. He's 7 feet tall. He can make every pass. Patty Mills comes out the other night, hits 9 threes. Kevin Durant, if you play him one-on-one, he's going to get to his spots. He's going to raise up, shoot over you, and he shoots for his career over 50%. This is a guy that has been an incredibly efficient scorer at all three levels. There's really nothing you can do to stop him.
Well, except for slow down the people around him, right? And so we saw in the first couple of seconds against Milwaukee in the playoffs, that's when James Harden went down. So, Richard, what have you seen from James Harden over the past few games that could give us some illumination into what he's going to be needed to do tonight?
Well, James Harden is finally playing into the guy that we know, like a former MVP, scoring champ, assist leader. He went from averaging 19 and 9 to right now over these last 3 games in his winning streak, he's been averaging 24 and 12. Why is that important? Because he has to work to get other people involved, because Kevin Durant can make the passes, but he is an elite scorer. James Harden has taken on that role. Famously, Kyrie said, you're the point guard. So he's got to play like a point guard. And for him, double-digit assists is a must, because he's got to be the guy that gets everyone else involved.
Perk, what have you been seeing from James Harden?
Well, I see that he's finally starting to get back in some shape, right? He's getting his legs back under him, and he's not overthinking things. And he's finally also getting adjusted to the way that the game is being officiated. So he's not complaining about calls, and that's what great scorers do. They adjust their game. I wasn't a great scorer, but when you watch James Harden, he's a hooper. He's going to figure things out, and we're watching him figure things out right now.
Absolutely. So if things keep going the way that they're going right now, Perk, is this the most likely finals matchup?
I would have to say yes.
Okay.
I mean, you look at 2 teams, in my opinion, that have the top 2 MVP candidates in Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. And we touched on, I heard Richard and JJ touch on Kevin Durant. Look, you can't guard him. This is a guy that has seen every type of defense it is to throw at a guy, right? And when you look at the others like LaMarcus Aldridge and Joe Harris is finally starting to knock down shots. Patty Mills is finally finding his way into this offense. When you have a guy like Kevin Durant, yes, you could make it to the finals with him leading the charge because of his ability to score the ball and facilitate with others, and you got James Harden. Now, when you look at the Golden State Warriors, right now, I mean, defensively, shout out to Ron Adams. Right, a lot of
the legend.
People don't know who
and my
Ron
parents'
Adams
neighbor.
One of the best,
randomly.
Yeah, but he's one of the best defensive coaches in the game today. I said it's him and Tom Thibodeau down film and know everybody's tendencies. So when I look at the Golden State Warriors and I look how they're tied on the string defensively and how they're rotating, you see a team that look like they're playing zone defensively, but actually are in man-to-man, then you know that they're doing something special. They load up boxes and elbows, and offensively, they have one of the hardest offenses to guard because of so much movement, along with having a serve.
So if they have so much to guard, real quick, Perk, who's your pick? If that's the finals matchup, who's winning it?
I'm not going against Kevin Durant.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going against Kevin Durant. I would have to go with the Nets.
All right, JJ?
I think we've all forgotten that the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA championship last year.
And are hurt
they
right now.
Yet to be healthy this season. And I know they've gotten off to a slow start. And granted, there were injuries in the Bucks and Nets series last year. So I'm not willing to say that the Nets, and I know Vegas has already, but I'm not willing to say that the Nets are the odds-on favorite to be in the finals. I will say in the West right now, the Warriors look like the team to beat. They're a team that is very reminiscent of the 2015 and 2016 Warriors team. You have a lot of ball movement, a lot of cutting. They're doing all of this without Klay Thompson, and they have a deep bench. Their bench unit right now is eviscerating opponents when they're on the floor.
Richard?
Wow. There's a lot being said there. No, I think, yes, to JJ's point where he talks about Milwaukee, yes, but Milwaukee is kind of looking like what the Lakers looked like the year before. Coming into the season, constantly banged up, can't really get into a rhythm. But the 2 teams that are playing the best basketball right now, and it's been going back and forth, is the Warriors. And in the East, I would have to say it's Brooklyn. They are a team. There is no team that's playing better than Brooklyn right now in the Eastern Conference.
Well, perhaps the Washington Wizards might have something to say about that. They might. They're playing really well right now. Thank you guys so much. Wait, let's what? Let's this.
I'll keep it quiet.
Let's this. Let's just take a listen, because someone who's coming up might have a little something to say about that.
What's up, guys? This is Kyle Kuzma here, and you're watching NBA Today, and check into this interview soon.
Like I said, Richard, coming up next, Kyle Kuzma joins the show to discuss the red hot whiz. That's next on NBA Today. The Wizards are at the top of the East, and they're doing it defensively. They're allowing the lowest field goal percentage and the lowest three-point percentage this season. Washington also ranks 4th in defensive efficiency after finishing 20th last year. Joining us now on NBA Today is an NBA champion and Washington Wizards forward, Kyle Kuzma. Kuz, thanks for hanging with us.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're excited to have you. So the Wizards, they may be the hottest team in the East right now. And you said you were pleasantly surprised that you were going to D.C. and not Sacramento. But for years, the Wizards, they were a punchline. How does playing for this team compare with maybe the perception you had of this team before arriving?
Well, it's a much different team. First and foremost, obviously, the roster turnover has been, essentially flipped. And, what the organization was prior to me coming, obviously, me playing with the Lakers coming into town, it was always, just a whole bunch of Laker fans at the game. But, what I've been surprised with really is our fan base. Like, they're showing up to every game, super, super loud. It's a different type of fan base, and it's fun to play with. So.
Montrezl Harrell was making sure to note that fan base, and he said that when he was shooting free throws that he could hear the MVP chants. He's like, I don't want that on the first free throw. Wait till the second free throw. Do you have that kind of sway in Capital One Arena, or are you the guy who's like, nope, keep going, MVP chants now?
No, I don't like it because I don't want to miss my first free throw. And I feel like every time I've ever heard that, I've always missed a free throw. So, it's really fun. It's a great environment that we play in. The fans are really into it, and they're rowdy, and it's exciting. So.
Well, I don't want to live in the past here, but when you were with LA, there was a star power backlog at one position, right? And you said that you had to take a back seat, and rightfully so. And fast forward to now, you're averaging 9 rebounds a game, a career high. What has the adjustment been like to being that front seat player? It's very fun, obviously, from an individual standpoint. This is kind of what I wanted. An opportunity just to, not be in someone's shadows or, have that type of log jam on a roster standpoint. So, being here has been extremely fun. I have opportunity to come in and lead and use my championship mentality and, everything I've learned from those two guys out in LA. It's been wonders for my career. And, I think people are seeing it now. So. What did you learn from those guys that you're applying now? Did you learn how to be a star there?
I feel like just everything. I think the way I think the game, the way I approach the game, the way I take care of my body, my effort defensively, just my overall focus as, possession to possession. And, I think the biggest thing is, the winning aspect. Obviously AD, Ron, those guys are winners. They won a lot in this league, and, we won championships together. So, it's always win at all costs. And that's always the mentality I've kind of had growing from, the situation I was in.
Are you playing at all with the chip on your shoulder this season?
I am, but I think I'm playing more of a chip for myself. I think for me, I work really hard. I love this game. I care about it. And, I just want to be as great as I can be, and, whatever that may be to whatever extent. But, I care for it. And I want to be able to, say who I say I am, if that makes sense, so.
It's certainly been fun to watch you all, and this has been fun to have this conversation. And don't worry, your Chiron isn't going to say won a championship thanks to LeBron on this show. Your clapback game, though, I am impressed. Where did that come from?
Man, I just like to have fun. I'm at the point in my life where, I just want to have fun. I want to enjoy the game of basketball, and I want to be able to laugh all day. And I think, the best part about life is when you can laugh at yourself and you understand things aren't that serious. So
Well, that was certainly a good chuckle. Thank you so much for spending time with us, Kyle.
I appreciate it, Malika.
So let's stick in the Eastern Conference. Chris Middleton, according to Mike Budenholzer, is planning to return against the Los Angeles Lakers tomorrow. And Budenholzer said that there's going to be a ramp-up period for Middleton as he gets readjusted back into the lineup, because remember, he has been out for an extended period in the league's COVID-19 protocols. And tomorrow night, our ESPN doubleheaders features the last two NBA champs. Will start in Milwaukee. That game with Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Bucks host the Lakers, and then it's a matchup of two of the Western Conference's top teams. LUKA Doncic and the Mavs takes on the Suns, who have won 9 straight. Our coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 7 o'clock Eastern. Coming up, Adrian Wojnarowski is going to join us to give us the latest on Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons.
Kicked out of practice.
We told him to go
The
home.
Sixers have to move this guy.
He does not want to be there. I don't care about that man. We really focus on just winning. He does whatever he wants. Our job is not to babysit somebody. We're grown men here. Put our big boy pants on and we get on the floor and do what we do.
It's no fun, but you don't give up the fight that you can get it right. I want Ben to be playing. That's his job.
Welcome back to NBA Today, bringing in Adrian Wojnarowski for an update on Ben Simmons and the Sixers standoff. So Philadelphia is 14 games into the season, still no Ben. So Woj, what's the current direction for the Sixers in their dealings with Simmons?
The latest, Malika, is the same, and nothing's really changed. There's still a gulf between Ben Simmons, the 76ers. He's not on this 6-game trip that started in Indiana, continues in Utah tonight. For the Sixers, they would like for him to join the team, to be there with them. It doesn't appear that is going to be the case. They've continued to fine him, put his money into escrow, for a number of different violations throughout. This has been pretty consistent, except for a short stretch after Ben Simmons told the team that he had mental health concerns, wanted to get help, and the Sixers and Ben Simmons and his representatives have continued, to not agree on what that process is going to look like. So no closer to a resolution with Ben Simmons. And I think on the trade front, really until we get to December 15th, when the summer's free agents are then eligible to be a part of trade packages, I think it's unlikely that any real deals, conversations gain any traction.
December 15th, circle that date for you to be back on our show. Of course, a lot more from you in between now and then. But the Sixers have also been without Joel Embiid, who tested positive for COVID-19 last week. Tomorrow marks Embiid's 10th day in the NBA health and safety protocols. What's the word on Embiid's health and when he could possibly return?
Yeah, Malika, the Sixers expect that they'll have a better timetable on being able to get Joel Embiid back on the court, I'm told, the next 24 to 48 hours. As you said, he's finishing up that 10 days in isolation since his positive test. And certainly there's going to have to be a ramp up for his return. The team's out west. He's still in isolation. And certainly this is a team that desperately misses him. They've lost 4 straight. They play obviously a very tough Jazz team tonight and have some tough games on the road in the West over the next week or so.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Woj. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Malika.
All right. So we have updates from all over the place. Technical difficulties prevented Tim McMahon from joining us, but we do have an update from him on LUKA Doncic. So Tim McMahon is reporting that LUKA Doncic's ankle is, quote, not too serious, per his sources. He's likely to miss some time, but the Mavericks are hoping that it's not an extended amount of time. So what's your reaction to that, Zach?
How much time do we think that is? A week? What does that mean? A week and a
10
half?
days.
Look, the Mavs. This is why, though, we talked about the Mavs having a much better record than their point differential. This is why banking some of those wins that you kind of squeak out that maybe you don't quote unquote deserve. That's why it's a big deal. They've banked they're 9-4. They've banked some wins.
So they have a little bit of time here, Richard?
Yeah, they do. They do have time, and this was unfortunate. Glad that it's nothing structural, But ultimately, even going back to the Philly, this is why if you are a championship contender, your stars are going to miss time, and you have to be able to weather that storm, whether it's a tweak ankle, whether it's an abdominal strain by LeBron James.
Right.
You got to be able to miss, week, 2 weeks, and you got to have a team around you, and that's what makes the Philly situation so tight. They see what happens without Joel Embiid, so they got to get talent for Ben Simmons to kind of weather some of those storms when Joel Embiid does miss time.
Well, and it sounds like LUKA DONCIC is going to miss some time, not potentially a lot of time. Again, this is according to Tim McMahon. So without him, we talked about Kristaps Porzingis, but when we look at the Lakers, for example, it was their young guys that were out, right? That they didn't have to get to develop in that time without LeBron James. So who are you guys looking at as this is potentially a growing period, a time where you can see some other guys flex their legs a little bit?
I'm going to say probably Porzingis. We want to see him get more opportunity. If you're talking about Philly, look, they have veterans on their roster. They have guys. They got Maxey. They got Matisse Thybulle. They got guys that can play. But when your offense is so much dedicated around one or two guys, you're already missing, Ben Simmons, understandably, he's been gone. But now you're missing Joel Embiid, who was a center point of your offense. It's not like when LeBron's out, you have Anthony Davis that you can we're going to play through Anthony or we're going to let Russell go. They don't have that in Philly, and you can see that with this 0-4 stretch.
And in Dallas?
Jalen Brunson is already about maxed out. He's playing great. Tim Hardaway Jr. maybe a little more. I'm looking at they're getting real minutes from Frank Ntilikina, which is kind of interesting. And then Porzingis. You're looking at me. Frank Ntilikina's giving real minutes. Give Josh Green some playing time.
Yeah, give my Wildcat some playing time. Come on, guys. Yeah, no, but Frank Ntilikina, this is again. And look, he's a player. He can play. But if that's who you're looking at over this stretch without LUKA, it could get weird.
Well,
let's get weird.
I like getting weird. I'm just saying.
Please, we don't want to know any more about your getting weird. Earlier.